Hello, welcome back to the EU Challenger League playoffs. You can see it right there. I'm salivating at the prospect of this one. We're about to get stuck into our second upper bracket quarter-final of Play Day 1. I'm loving this already, by the way. Not just because I'm with my comrades, with my with mon frere. I think that might be brother. I'm not sure. I won't try French anymore. My name's Ian Chambers. This is Demo. This is X, and we're buzzing. Before we get into the second one, just in a word, how would you sum up that first series?
Never again.
That's 2 words. What about you, X?
Please no.
That's 2 words again. Up next, it's Deathrow versus Viperio 86. Now, 86 are obviously a team that us three are very familiar with, as we we work on the UKIN broadcast quite regularly, and this is our first time working together on the Challenger League. This could be very close between these two. They've never been in CL X, and that could really tee up a really spicy encounter.
It really could, and I think Viperio were the team that impressed us the most throughout UKIN. You know, it's a stacked lineup as well. You think about the teams that are in there. You think about M&M, Koana, Navi. Like, these are all big hitters, and you're going up against those. And for Viperio, straight from the rip, straight from the get-go, we knew that they were the real deal. We knew that they were a team that you weren't allowed to mess with. Now, albeit they have had some changes, but they still look quite a strong Demo.
Yeah, I mean, I think 86, with the changes, it's still a very solid lineup. You have that main core. I mean, in terms of supports, they have very, very strong supporting staff in there also. So, I mean, overall, I think that 86, yes, there's been changes, but I don't think too much has changed. I think it'll still be as strong as ever.
Two teams with momentum. Let's first take a look at, I'm not going to call them the least. I want Viperio 86 to win, and I don't know how to say it. Do I just say it?
You've just said it.
Just say you're biased.
I'm biased, but I am a big fan of Deathrow as well. These are a very young side, but they've spent some decent time together.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you don't get to this point without spending a good amount of time together. I think Deathrow are really good prospects and they've got a good chance here. And that's one of the reasons why we've built this as quite a close game, because from all what we can glean and the way that we saw Deathrow play throughout the group stage, we know that they're the real deal. We know that they're here to play. We also know roughly what Viperio is capable of, given that we've seen the most of that siege. But we still think it's going to be a big clash here.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the group there. They were in Group C. They topped it. Very impressive play from them.
Yeah, it was. I think Deathrow overall, they've came into the CL, and I think, again, met expectations. A lot of teams didn't really know, okay, how are Deathrow going to approach this? What are they going to do? I mean, I just think they came out and they just played some good, clean siege. I don't think there was a standout, which... Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Every team kind of has, the talisman player that we look towards. But overall, is it a bad... I mean, obviously, we look at LATAM teams. LATAM teams are strong from top to bottom, whereas maybe in other teams that we see inside of EU, maybe some teams rely on one guy individually to show up.
Isn't that what you want, though? Like, if you're Barcelona and Messi leaves, you still want to be able to go at the highest level, right?
Would you rather have, 5 people who can get 10 kills or 1 person get 30 kills?
It's a good point.
It's a great point.
I suppose that's what you're after.
They don't have any weak links.
The thing is, we've seen what happens when you have an air quotes talisman player or somebody that really pops off. We've seen that already tonight. Yep. We've seen that last game. So that happens when Nitro goes mad, clutches out of his mind and still doesn't walk away with the win. So it isn't repeatable, it isn't reliable. You want teams that have got that quality top through bottom. And that's really what we've got here with both of these sides. It's not easy on either side, really, to find someone who stands head and shoulders above the rest. That's not to say it's not going to happen in a game or so, but overall, the performance needs to be consistent top to bottom.
Who's the talisman on this desk right now? I'm going to say you. No, I'm going to say you.
No,
we're not saying you. We're not.
Thank you.
See what he does. He expects us to be nice to him. He expects something, but
he said you were from a swamp earlier.
I did say. Wait, look, we've got a long month.
Told you the Eiffel Tower. Like, come on.
You know what I meant. Right, let's take a look now at Viperio 86. We didn't have time to talk about it in the pre-show, but we did allude to some of those roster changes. Should we start with Carry?
Carry, yeah. I mean, he comes from a long line of Finnish representation that we have inside of CL. Again, as much as the Russians have a say, as much as the Brits and the French have a say inside of this competition, equally, so do the Finns. We've seen a lot of teams. You think back to Ints. You then obviously look at Sisu also. There is a very big history, and Akari has kind of been brought up inside of that, kind of little neighborhood of the Finns. So he has a lot of experience, playing with players such as Stiggy. You've got Bunsi, all the kind of famous Finnish players that we've seen inside of Pro League. He's been able to learn from them.
Let's talk about Joe. Right, he's infamous in Siege, really, isn't he?
Yes.
Nobody can doubt his gun skill and raw talent. But whenever he's had the chance to really go out there and prove himself, he tends to miss the mark. And I love him. And this isn't a diss by any stretch, but, he did it with Na'Vi. And even though it didn't work out, you can't argue that he must have learned a lot from his EUL experience.
I think something to really think about and consider with Joe is the circumstances that he was almost always playing under.
Yeah.
He was always playing under that assumption that he was just a fill. He wasn't really ever part of the roster. At least that's not how it felt. And we've seen that come through in the gameplay. We've seen that come through in how things have transpired and the fact that he's now not on the team anymore. But everything that he can take from that and the fact that he was able to go out there and do that so successfully for such a long period of time and be that player as the almost air quotes superstar sub, that's exactly what builds a great player. And he almost shelved his own desires there in terms of that was his opportunity. That's where he's going to do his apprenticeship, as it were. And I feel like he's done that apprenticeship on Na'Vi. He's learned what he's learned. He's got some Pro League experience. And now he's here and ready to make that fight for himself and to start his own journey. And I think the experience that Joe brings is going to give a lot to this Viperio side. Because by all accounts, they're quite a young side.
Yeah.
Is it a comeback tour?
For Joe, yeah. I think this is where Joe can really prove himself and show what he's made of. Like you said, nobody can doubt the guy's talent. The capable skill that he has is undeniable, and hopefully we'll be able to see that tonight. But yeah, obviously things that work for Navian, but he's here now. This is where he wants to be, and let's see if he can do it with 86. Again, we haven't even mentioned the other three. We haven't mentioned how well Curly and the rest of them, who obviously we've seen inside of UKIN have been playing. So very strong roster. We have to commend them, and I'm excited to see them here tonight.
So we know the rosters, we know the history, we know the stakes, but what we don't know is the maps. Let's take a look where we are going for this best of three, our second quarter final. I'm coming across to the Eiffel Tower.
Oof. Villa. Recurring theme.
Yep.
Could be a map that we see quite a lot of. Love the Chalet pick in there as well. Viperio, known to be a good side on Chalet.
Yeah,
I think that's one of their stronger maps, so it really is no surprise that we're going to see them play in on there, and that'd be their first pick here tonight. And then we get down to the coastline. And all I want now is 2 full 3 mappers, and I want it to all come down to coast, because I love coastline, especially after the recent rework.
Yeah, I agree with that one as well. I think coastline was at one point my least favourite map to cast, and then obviously with console being gone, I have to find a new one, and coastline is kind of filling that. I love the way the changes that have happened to coastline. It makes it very new, feels fresh, and you can really bounce off a lot of strategies off of it. But I mean, you look at Villa, first of all, it's going to be a tough old fight for 86. I mean, they still have experience in this map. It's still a map that we've seen them play and win. So I think they'll do okay in Villa. It's just a question, how will Deathrow perform if we get into Chalet, like you said? It's going to be difficult to stop the entries, the likes of Joe, whenever he can be let loose in Ayana and Chalet. Chalet almost feels it was made for those individual hero moments, and I definitely think a player like Joe can take advantage of them.
So you want to go to coastline? You want this to go all the way?
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to?
I think there's potential. So something that I'm really excited for in the bands is that we haven't really got the typical defender-sided maps, right? You got Chalet, arguably attacker-sided, under a lot of circumstances. Coastline, loads of opportunities there to get rounds as an attacker. And then we've got Villa. Okay, Villa may be the anomaly there. Villa's maybe the one where you could say it could be a bit defender-sided. That was the theme of the previous map.
I mean, we're dodging Clubhouse in there.
Dodging
we're dodging
Oregon.
the Bank.
A lot of maps there that have fallen by the wayside. I think this is a good set of maps, especially for best 3.
Who do you think's got the strongest roster on paper?
I think on paper, Deathrow obviously have been together as a team longer, so you would expect their team play to be a lot better. But then I look at the individual players on side of 86, and if any one of those players shows up today and has the pop-off game, that could just boost everyone, and that could just throw everyone in, and that could really get them fired up. Yeah,
there's some real MVP potential across the board on the Viperio roster.
I think there is, and I think there's potential for that to be someone massively ahead. If Joe comes out tonight and has a pop-off game, that'd be a good result. If Ekri does it, then again, that'd be a great result. If they all have a good performance as their team, another good result. But I just feel that, we spoke about it earlier, we spoke about it with Helios. Were they saving something going from the groups to the playoffs? And I think the answer is no one still knows. It's a bit scary, really, if I'm being honest with you. We can worry about that in a few weeks' time. But something that we can now look toward is where other teams may be holding back a little bit inside of the group stage. And the answer to that's probably yes, because now they're in the playoffs, they're going to have to put it out there on the line. And this is where we could start to see it. And every single new best of three that we get when we've got two teams we've not seen before, it's when we get to see the real team now, because this is where it all matters.
Do you think we're still seeing all of the teams going at their absolute full potential, revealing all of their cards in the quarterfinals? Or do you think you really get that level when they drop down? Are we getting it right away? Are we seeing what these teams can really do in these first quarterfinals?
This is it. This is where everyone wants to be. Like you said in the pre-show, nobody wants to fall down in the lower brackets. You can't get back up.
But it is an extra life.
Again, your vision, he might be clouded by Helios. He might think Helios is saving stuff still. I think he might, right? Don't worry about Helios. Everyone is going to be playing to their full potential, 100%. Whenever it gets to the lower bracket, that's where we see desperation plays start to come in.
And that's different.
And that's stuff that shouldn't work, but they start pulling it out and it starts working. That's whenever we see a different kind of siege. But I think for this, both teams are going to go in at their strongest, and they're going to play as strong as they believe that they can. And what their vision of Siege is, they're going to play to it.
All right, the game is ready. We're about to get into it. Just briefly, in a word, who's winning the series?
86.
86. We're biased. We have to hold
We are biased. I'm going 86. I don't normally predict. Which one of you two's casting this one?
That would be me.
Are you going for it? Are you going to do the rotation? All right, the Queen of the Netherlands is waiting in the wings, ready to do this. Our illustrious caster, I love the word illustrious, from the Netherlands, Anne, is over on the desk waiting for Demo's arrival. As he sits down, he looks really comfortable right now. They look really happy together. Do you know what? I think this could be a better duo than X and Demo. I'm putting it out there.
Oh.
I'm kidding. Just staring it up. Let's get into it. It is map one of our second quarter-final of our upper bracket. It is Deathrow versus Viperio 86. Let's go.
Thank you very much, Ian. We are now ready to dive in, hopefully, to a great best-of-3 series. And do we want it to live up to what we've seen earlier? Do we really want that again?
I mean, a very close game. I think it's what the most people want to see, right? A close game. We do like the 7-0s. It's where a team has a really strong performance, but is it the most competitive to get a 7-0 two times?
Social vote goes in favor of Deathrow.
Ooh, okay.
I thought it would have been like 50-50, straight down the middle. That's what I would have thought.
I mean, they always say like Yukin has a lot of fans and everything, right?
Yes, of course.
Are they really showing up in the social vote?
Maybe we've got some lurkers who don't really want to vote, but no, I'm sure the UK scene is out in force, but there's a lot of French support also in the community, so I suppose that gives and takes. So Villa, here we go. Buck, right off the rip, is going to be banned out. Notorious strong operator for Villa. You can obviously use the verticality from not only top down, but also bottom up. We've seen a lot of teams kind of focus living room now and utilize the Buck to eliminate anyone inside a vault. A lot of options for him.
Yeah, and especially with the heartbeat gadget as well. So, I mean, a very strong operator now taken off the board. Thatcher taken off the board as well. We've seen both teams ban the Thatcher quite often, so it was going to be a given fact he was going to get banned here too. It was Deathrow that banned the Thatcher here, and because they're starting on attack, they also get to ban the first defensive operator. They're definitely taking their time here, and it's going to be Ava Mai. So, any kind of utility coming from either Deathrow or Viperio is going to get more chances to come through. We're talking about nades, we're talking about flashes. You won't have Ava Mai with these magnets stopping them, so you're going to have to rely off a Jaeger or any kind of other utility to stop players from using their utility.
Well, Mai always very strong for Villa. You think of, obviously, the staircases that always get held, and the nade gameplay is so strong. I mean, look at earlier inside of Villa, we've seen 6 nades being brought by one team alone, so a big operator to get rid of. And Valkyrie, again, very cluttered map. Villa, eliminating those cameras is going to help you out a lot.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of clutter everywhere, so you can hide the cams easily. So the Valk being gone does not give you as much information. You have to rely on other operators to bring you that information. They're going to bring a mirror now. At least they're picking the mirror. They might 6-pick the mirror eventually. If you go into a site like Aviator in games, there's a lot of information you can get on players, potentially from study, if you have the mirror windows facing there. And it's going to get 6-pick because we have the caster curse. It's something that happens 9 out of 10 times. 6-pick to Arcade. We do see the Jaeger. Obviously, they're going to have to do something against possible nades or flashes from attackers. We have a Thunderbird, a Smoke, and a Melusi. So apart from that, it seems like a quite standard lineup.
Captain's an interesting one for me. I look at Capitao, and he's went for the change. He now has the hard breach gadget with 2 hard breach gadgets inside of it, so it does make him so much more viable. You can look at your Capitao now to play as your hard breacher, because I'm not really seeing anything else that can open up the reinforced walls, so it looks as if they're going to try and rely on that Capitao. And whenever we're dealing with a Wildlife ban, it makes him even more so a pleasure to play whenever none of your arrows can be stopped.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're going to try and use him to cover up a plant, for example. If you put out the smoke, if you put out the fire, there's no way the defender's going to be able to rotate through that whilst you're pulling the plant off. Obviously, Capitao has a diffuser in hands as well, so you could get that down behind the vault door, for example. As you mentioned before, there are no other hard breachers except for the hard breach gadgets that we have on the side of Capitao. And you mentioned it earlier today, it's not longer a necessity to bring a hard breacher. I mean, ideally you'd want to have the walls in study open so you can get some lines into the side. You might want to have vault open so you can get like cut-off rotations in vault as well. But you can easily do that if you have 2 hard breach gadgets on the Capitao. The only thing you don't want him is to be the enter death.
So, now we kick things off. 20 seconds into the round, and it looks as if Deathrow are going to try and go for the study take. No real surprise here, and you'd also see them, they're droning out living room, drone out library. Potential maybe to utilize the soft destruction that you can get from below. I mean, they have nades, they can easily move Rykos and then even Adriano into a good position. So it looks as if Rykos is going to try and take control of main stairs, but it's going to be tricky whenever Monkey is stationed in this position. That shield's going to be covering for the meantime. Curly kicks things off with the first pick, and down goes Fusion Lion. That's a big bit of utility off the board already.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to find out roamers or find out positions of defenders that easily anymore. Also, flashbangs being taken off the board as well. I do have to point out the smoke being in a very aggressive position on the main stairs. You might ideally want to have him on top main stairs so you can rotate utility later on. He's very aggressive, trying to hold any players coming to main stairs. And so far, it doesn't look like anyone's going to challenge him directly. We do see Rykos in the living room, accompanied by the Ash we saw earlier as well. But there's not really any, like, take onto the smoke on the main stairs. You're trying to use the nades from underneath to do some damage onto Curly. A lot of damage has been done, and Neox actually finishes the kill up here, holding the angle all the way into game. So that's the entry back. Then we got Monkey with 1 kill, gets refragged immediately as well, so we're back to a 3v3.
Yeah, good stuff though from 86, and Joe is even able to swing up and find all 3 of them. They line up in the 5 seconds. Wow, there's Joe. Just pounces on the opportunity. And that was a round that went pretty quick from what I was expecting. I thought that was going to be a little bit more slow-paced after they'd taken control of main stairs, but nope, Joe isn't letting them have anything. No,
indeed. Like, they were all settled up for a downstairs take. They were trying to get the utility from underneath, possible players from underneath, as you saw with the grenade onto Curly. They had some players on study block, and all of a sudden it kind of collapsed onto the main stairs. You saw the attackers try and take that. They got the kill on the smoke, immediately refrag, and then there was Joe going absolutely crazy with those last players on study block and main stairs, quickly cleaning up the round in the favor of Viperio 86, but that forces them to go to another site. Their site pick will be Statuary Trophy, and they're looking like they have a castle on the lineup. That's a very interesting one. I mean, castle obviously having 4 of those barricades instead of 3 since Tuesday, so you're going to be able to block 1 thing more than you would last week. So definitely an interesting pick in the lineup, and we also see the Aruni.
Yeah, you get a double bulletproof, I suppose, with bringing the castle and the Aruni, and information on Villa. Very, very crucial. Whenever you're dealing, of course, with a Valkyrie ban, you're going to have to try and find information some way. Teams aren't necessarily a fan of Maestro. You know, you have to have a certain player who will play that operator because he is slow, he is a little bit clunky, it's going to be difficult, but if you don't have that, bulletproofs are, again, another great alternative. And whenever Aruni gets one, which I think everyone can play, very, very easy operator to kind of adapt to. And if they want to go for these castle strategies, then sure, why not?
It looked like we have Draw downstairs. He's got one of the reinforcements on the kitchen, probably trying to stop any attackers coming from downstairs, possibly with nades, as we see in the hands of Rykos as well. See some flashbangs in the hands of a Sludge, actually. That's a quite interesting one, because usually Sludge is able to pick up grenades, and, I mean, you can bring the flashes to get rid of, for example, Syria gates, but you also have the Ayana, which is able to do that with the replicator. You can always keep on getting those, it doesn't really matter. Do you see that Jax has taken a little bit of damage already? Potential spawn pick that we've seen from Viperio. I think I personally missed that. It's a bit unfortunate to start the round with a health deficit.
Straight away, Deathrow in. They have 90 control, they have their maps control also. Nobody from 86 looking to contest there. More than happy to sit inside a bedroom. They still have that control. And I mean, the only thing I would worry about is something like this happening, because you can get swung oh so easily, and Joe is at it again. He's already started off things with a double kill in the round, and that has really slowed down Deathrow. And this is the one thing that we kind of thought this could happen, and if it happens for Deathrow, it's not going to end well. And that is one player having a standout performance. And if Joe continues on this same train, it's going to be a quick one.
And to be fair, they just droned out the top of the red stairs, and then there's Joe just swinging from landing onto this player there. Would you allow him to do that?
Joe, welcome.
Yeah, that's Joe indeed. I mean, he just goes for the kills and runs around. He is pressured now behind the statue, gets flashed, but doesn't get killed. He's on a slither of HP. It's currently getting a kill, but immediately getting fragged down. But due to the corner stations, Joe is able to get back up to full HP. Adrianer is on site, doesn't notice a player behind the closet, but actually gets the kill there. Creek goes down as well. Doesn't get a trade here, but it's a 1v2 for Fusion as he tries to get onto the site. Smoke is going off. Monkey still has 2 of them left, but sits behind the bomb with the shotgun and could potentially win this close range gunfight.
Fusion, eyes up. Can he win this? I mean, both of them are holding on to the same door. They know where he has to come from, and this is the main issue that we see with teams trying to take in from the kind of study side of things, pushing in towards 90. You're going to get bottlenecked. You don't have any viable options apart from swinging into door frames, and that's never an easy thing to do. They have both doors covered. Fusion will take the time that he has to go for a drone now and spot out what little information he can, because I don't think it'll be up for much longer. If he spots out one player, I'm sure it will be destroyed. He will leave the drone now, will go for the swing. He sees the head of the Thunderbird, but cannot land the shots. He knows exactly that one's going to be behind the bomb chassis, and Monkey is there, holds down the fort. 86, a great round. Joe got things kicking for them with a double kill, and you can see the long angles that were being played, they really played into the kind of bedroom hold they went for. If Deathrow are going to ignore that entire bedroom side, they should be ready for those holes that are being made to be used against them on those doorways. So very, very strange from Deathrow to be caught out by that.
Yeah, exactly. Initially, it was a good idea from Deathrow to like ignore the entire hold that was going on around bedroom with the rotates and the castle barricades and everything, and just go for the cross clear from study side. But then they droned it out, and all of a sudden you have Joe.
They lose those 2 kills and it doesn't work anymore because the man advantage isn't with them.
You're in a 3v5, and I like how they're trying to put pressure onto Joe afterwards. We're trying to flesh him out after like behind the statue and everything, but he gets to run away on a slither of HP.
Yeah, that was interesting.
He just runs to a corner station, gets up to like full HP, holds the long angles, then the Lion does spot out the player there with the long angles. You have the advantage because you have a bigger scope. But he isn't able to get the kill. Pushes into the site, you have the smoke player behind the bomb with the shotgun. You're gonna win that close range gunfight with the shotgun like that. So a very well performed run from Viperio, and they're up to 0 now. They have to go to another bomb site. It's gonna be Kitchen, quite the expected. We did see a Villa game earlier.
Yeah,
on Living, but I mean, this is the more expected bomb site.
One operator that we see quite a lot for Kitchen, seen it earlier, is the Pulse. Great operator for this site. Sure, Pulse maybe doesn't get the kind of love that other information operators get, because it is a little bit tricky to use, because essentially if you were to use your gadget, you're vulnerable to everything and anything. So that's like the main issue that we see Pulse struggle with, is if you're playing Pulse, don't get tunnel vision. Don't get into that streamlined thought of I have to keep giving out information. It's just a quick little pocket scan. It just gives you kind of flicker of information. Sure, it's good in the early stages whenever you are very stationary on site. You can spot out where certain attackers are going to be formulating. You know, if you see 3 players on the bedroom balcony, okay, there you go. They're going to go for the bedroom kind of take and then use a vertical action. That's where the C4s can come in big. So it's just early information and kind of snap information in the later stages.
Yeah, we do have the Pulse together with 2 other C4s in the hands of Draw and Akari. I mean, that's going to do a lot of potential if they actually go for that top clear. We did see in the previous game that they went for a full-on horizontal take. Seeing as where the drones of Deathrow are currently located, it does look like they're actually going to go for that top clear. See Raiko's in closet, doesn't spot out Joe there. Joe just gets to run around once again, relocates to Ash. So there's a player in bathroom as well. Currently he's being held back by Lion Skin, but is also assisted by Draw on top of these Astro stairs. See Jack's trying to get rid of the utility to get into the gunfight with the Goyo here, but he's still quite safe onto those Astro stairs. Joe goes for another peek onto the bedroom, does not land the shot, and is able to rotate back to her side as Jax gets the kill onto Ekari.
Yeah, Goyo shield gone, and that leaves him pretty vulnerable. But still, Hunky upstairs along with Draw. They will find one kill, and more Deathrow players are looking to aggress Monkey behind the desk. Tries to thread the needle and will peek up, misses the shot, someone gets burned out in the meantime, but Draw, a great refrag in that position, and they still keep the man advantage. 86 are happy with what they've got. They've got 3 kills, and now they're happy to forfeit that top floor.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's plenty of time still left for them. Time is on the side of the defenders. There's only about 1 minute left as we do see the Sledge starting to make these vertical lines of sight. Do they have a lot of utility that can use that for? Not really. They have heart-breaching gadgets, they have flashes. I mean, this is why you'd want to potentially have your Sledge bring grenades. You can do a lot of damage from above if you chuck 1 or 2 of these nades down to potentially lock off the defender's sides. I mean, time is running down, but we still see Sledge trying to make these lines aside, not even utilizing them just yet, because his other teammate is trying to drone out positions of where the enemies might be. We have Curly with the scanner here, still gets a lot of information, and time keeps running down.
Yeah, an asset from the Pulse, with that being still up, that cardiac scanner still being up. It's going to cause them so many issues. It gives out the information, and Deathrow can't do anything against it. There's no real counterplay to a Pulse in that position. They will use one of the hard breach gadgets to open up a hole, and that does give them a breach that they can jump in from. But it's going to be a risky one to go for. Joe in a perfect position, Draw, the right place, right time. Neox will stroll in, but the information being gathered by the Bulletproof. And a good swing. 86, make it look easy, another round for them.
Yeah, it's a clean rotation now. That means that they can go back to Aviator. I mean, we know that Living is open as well, but I reckon they're not going to go to Death side. Aviator would be the logical pick for them to return to. And if we look back at that round, that was a fairly quick round. We had the players of Deathrow attempting to do a downstairs take to get rid of some utility, to do some damage to players with nades from underneath. You're also trying to challenge the smoke on the main stairs. Well, that went successfully, but there was a refrag. And after that, Joe just went insane. Has Joe died yet in this game?
Nope.
Okay.
6-0, I believe, so all credit to him. He is, I suppose, living up to what we expect from him, and I don't know, it just seems as if Deathrow, they're getting caught out by that certain playstyle. I mean, Joe has been doing some great stuff in the entries and really rattling Deathrow very early on. Deathrow, just some poor siege at the moment, nothing really going for them. I think 86 have looked comfortable in all of their rounds. I think they've had, at least a 2-man deficit, every single time. It's always been, not really a close fight. They've always kind of looked as if they were going to win that round, and it doesn't look as if 86 are going to stop anytime soon. So now we look towards Deathrow. What are they going to be able to do? What will they be able to respond to 86? It just looks as if they're getting lost in those opening engagements.
I like how they're sticking with the lineup. So if you have an initial plan of like, oh, we're going to bring these operators, we're going to have this type of utility, we're going to stick with that. They do have some confidence that this lineup's still working. However, like you said, they end up being in the deficit with operator-wise. And if you're deficit operator-wise, you're also deficit with utility. Nades, Yana replicators. We saw the Lion dive very early into one of the rounds as well. The Sophia, there's so much utility going to waste because you cannot use it if there's defenders picking you off like that. Looks like a kind of cross clear, so they're doing something completely different as opposed to this first attacking round they did on Aviator. They're now going for a cross clear from Trophy Statuary side. It does not look immediately like they have a roamer there. Initially, Curly was in Astro, so they're going to have to force him out there. But it looks like the players from Deathrow are droning, making sure that everything is clear, and they can take this site on towards landing.
Much more slower pace from Deathrow. Just checking everything, making sure everything is clear before they send their boys in. Start clearing out any roamers and anyone that might be looking for a fight. Lion scan goes out, but nobody gets picked up from it. I do like the position, though, of Draw. Him in this position with the C4, he can cause chaos. I mean, you think how many players would just kind of amble towards the zombie door, on towards Maps door? That's C4able from below, and a lot of people forget that. And one fatal misstep, Draw could get an easy kill.
Yeah, if you're going to plant anywhere, it's going to be behind the vault door. It's a default plant spot, so easily to throw a C4 underneath by Draw. And they're trying to take onto 90 now with their Gemini Replicator right in front, so an easy refrag potential onto the Gemini Replicator. C4 first going off. That's some damage done onto Adriano, but not enough to get a full kill there. Jax is just situated around the 90 stairs. Ryko also taking a lot of damage here. Fusion is downstairs, don't know why. Joe just picks up a double kill onto both Neox and Ryko's. And that's again a deficit for Deathrow. 2 players down, potentially a third here, but Joe does not hit all of his shots across the door and is able to pick up another one. He just runs around and gets the kills and is doing a lot of effort for Viperio.
He is indeed. Deathrow again. Bit of a stop sign. They cannot go past it at the moment. 86, just the confidence that they have full control. You see Deathrow, they changed up their playstyle, a lot more slow pace, but still getting hit with so many bullets. 45 seconds to go. Both of them split up far away from each other, so any kind of refrag is probably going to be nullified. Draw trying to send a cheeky peek, but he himself will be eliminated, so a 2v4. 86, what are you going to do to finish this one out? I mean, they don't have to do anything. It's Deathrow who have to make a move on.
Yeah, I mean, they have one player on a half HP now, so that's a little bit of a disadvantage as well here. They're just peeking onto the school door. Might not know there's a players behind bar, but even Fusion onto the study door, trying to get some control, trying to flash some players, so that could be an easier entry for Adriano. Fusion picks up one, the kill onto Joe to die first. Curry with the refrag onto Adriano, leaves Fusion in a 1v3, but is not able to pull anything off, as it's the last player of Viperio 86 to get the kill there. 4 rounds in so far, it's looking like a really strong performance.
It is indeed. 4-0, 86 sit. And it looks as if Deathrow, they will be calling their timeout, should I say, before their time is up. Sorry, I might be a little bit too soon to say that. Still plenty more to come from this game. But right now, from what we've seen, 86 are poised and ready to take this map already.
Yeah, I mean, definitely we have to point out the fact how much Thunderbird is doing for them. We see Joe just exiting side, getting a kill, getting 2 kills, getting 3 kills, and then he's left with like a slither HP. But he can just run back to site, get to those corner stations, and we've seen, I think, 2 or 3 rounds already where Joe just goes back and is back on full HP. I mean, that gives you confidence to go for another swing and pick up another kill, right?
Yeah, I mean, Joe, whenever he's in that element where he knows nobody can contest him, he will just run your pockets dry. And I think he's showing that full force. However, I think the other players have stepped up. I think 86, everyone's having a moment right now. Sure, we can highlight Joe as much as we want, but 86, just everyone, even if Joe dies, you know, we still have faith that they'll win that round. You know, like I said, we don't really want to get in that situation where if this guy dies, oh, the round's over. We don't want to get in that situation. The question is, Deathrow, how do you get back into this matchup? Because right now, they haven't really been here. It just feels as if they've been a ghost in the lobby.
Yeah, I mean, definitely looking at a player like Rykus, right? He's trying to drone, he's trying to use the Gemini replicator, but he ends up being entry death quite often so far. And that's your nades gone. That's your replicators gone. So much information, so much utility that's immediately gone you cannot use into the round anymore. I mean, we've seen them try and take study from 2 sides. We try to see him take Aviator from 2 sides, from both study, both the cross clear from trophy and statuary. Neither of them really worked. I mean, they got as far as 90 control. But that's where they were stopped, from players swinging from Aviator door. So now they have to take this side again. I mean, last time they did a take from Master Bedroom. Or they did a take from Study, my bad. Are they going to try and switch it up? Like last round?
I mean, the only thing is if they do try and switch it up and attempt this bedroom hold, it's going to be a tough one. I mean, 86 have already seen triple ADSs stacked up inside of the walk-in closet. So already that would definitely throw you off attacking that. That's a lot of utility you have to burn up. I'm sure there are probably some Aruna gates also being scattered around to assist them. Just take up a bit more time. I do like the fact that Joe's on the Thunderbird. I think that's a good operator with how he's been playing especially. He can go for this hit and run playstyle and still come back to the site to kind of heal up. I think it is probably the way to play Thunderbird. I know whenever Thunderbird was first released, everyone thought, okay, she's going to be implemented into the meta as this operator who can hold down a position extremely well. But in reality, it doesn't really work like that because a nade's going to kill you either way, even if you have stims beside you. So a lot of teams think, okay, well, why don't we just try it as almost like a dock, you know, like a more flexible dock where you don't have to rely on one player. You just plonk them down and you just get infinite HP.
Well, Fusion does get the opening kill onto Joe here, shutting him down quite early. That's a really good advantage for Deathrow to have, as I think it's the first time they actually get that opening pick. Quite important for them, and this might be the round that'll turn the game around after they just had their timeout. Monkey here in a quite safe position, has 3 of those ADSs. Tries to gets naded now, but that's a white indicator, so it should not do that much damage to get him rid. Yeah, 40 HP still left in the closet. Does have smoke canisters, a shotgun, and an SMG to play around with. And the players from Deathrow aren't putting up that much effort to get him out there. I mean, they're using utility, but there's no player to follow up on it. Obviously, there's a smoke canister, so you can't easily push through that. But at this time, I would have expected someone to jump in and just get rid of him, because he's able to use a smoke canister still, and the ADSs are recharging as well.
This is why they're playing the smokes in these more aggressive positions, because it gives Monkey that bit of safe space. He is up so much utility Flashbang's gone. Nades are gone. They literally have nothing, and he's still being a menace. He's just got a kill onto Neox. Monkey is playing an absolute blinder off a round inside of the walk-in closet, and Deathrow are just looking at him thinking, well, what do we do now? There's not much they can do except to go for the jump-in, but Monkey will find another, finds two, and he also had up all that utility, keep in mind. And now this has put Deathrow, sure they have the walk-in closet and the kind of bedroom control, but at what cost? That's a great pick, though. Jax will find Curly, and now 86 are on the back foot.
Yeah, there's no more utility in the hands of Deathrow. One potential drone, but 54 seconds left to play with. Adrian is situated at the bedroom door here. Jax in master bedroom. They do have a good flank hold for Astro, but there's all these long lines of sight that they had before, which still need to check carefully. Goes to pick up the diffuser, but Draw still on landing here. Has a potential long angle towards the bedroom here, so if Adrian goes in the wrong way, they might be able to shut him down. Draw on low HP, though, as it's looking like they're gonna try and take Astro now. 30 seconds left on the clock. We should have an advantage for Deathrow. Let's see if they can take it out as well.
Oh, Adriana will find that kill onto a carry, and now Draw is stuck in the clutch position. He has eliminated one, but the other two have flooded in. Oh, did he see the prone on diffusion? I don't know if he did. A Bulletproof will just send out constant information. The diffuser will be planted. Oh, Draw misses his shots, and Fusion will punish him for that. Deathrow will take their first round. The timeout looks as if it helped.
Exactly, the timeout coming in clutch here for them, as they do actually manage to get their first round. We do think that Villa's kind of defender favorite still, so a 4-2 split wouldn't be that bad, but that means that Deathrow still needs to win one more round. Viperio 86 gets to pick. Do they want to go back to Trophy since they lost that? Do they want to go to Kitchen again? Looks like they're going to go to Trophy and Statuary again. They must feel confident. And I definitely think a power position there was Monkey in the closet with the shotgun and so much utility he kept on using.
Yeah, he played so well in that position, but it really didn't matter a lot, though. You know, eat up all that utility, but there was still just the man count was inside of Deathrow. I think that was shown, you know, extremely well. I think that was showcased that, you know, as well as Draw could have played that, still a 1v3 is very difficult to come back into that game from that position. But a lot better from Deathrow. I mean, Raiko's still having a bit of a rough game, 0-5, and you expect him, as that main entry, to really put in the show. If I'm not mistaken, Anne, the only remaining Benelux player in this competition.
Yeah, because he's from Luxembourg. Yeah, true. I mean, something to root for still.
Yeah, still got something. But he's, I mean, do you want to at this stage?
Should we just root for Deathrow in general then, I think, for them to like at least pull a 2-4 out of this?
Yeah, you just support the French teams. They're the closest to you. Me, Ollie, and Ian, we'll stick with the UK. Don't worry. We've got that covered.
I do like the switch in operators from Deathrow. They're now bringing the Hibana. They're also bringing a Dokkaebi to potentially do something about some roaming going on from Viperio 86. Well, they definitely feel the freedom to roam still. We had Draw downstairs trying to reinforce some things in the last round and everything as well. Initially, when they were defending this, we saw Joe just swing into landing as well, and those calls will get some idea of where the defenders might be. Also, stop, for example, Smoke from getting that power position into the closet. Joe's going to go for an aggressive peeker on the window, but the player's already long gone.
Yeah, Dokkaebi's obviously a great operator that can help with the roamers, but, you know, you said about the information. One thing as well that it would help with is it just kind of tells 86 to back off. You know, that's what I kind of see, is just back off, don't swing us, we know you're there with the logic bombs that we can hear. Rykos will find his first kill, opening kill for him. Draw goes down. Now Carry will have to move into that same position that was left vacant by Draw. Now we sit at a 4 versus 5. Again, another early death that 86 have suffered. How will they respond? Obviously, they've changed things up. They're not holding kind of walking anymore. They've went a lot more default. They've just smacked some stuff on the triple wall, the Kai charge, and hope that it's enough to save them.
Yeah, the amount of players that are off-site from Viperio is insane. I mean, they have someone at red, they have someone at landing. It's a lot less people on site that they had in the round before. Players of Deathrow are struggling to get the Kaid Electric Claw off the wall, though, as Joe picks up another kill onto Rykos. Grenade coming in onto the Astro Stars, but Curly still survives there. Joe gets another kill onto Fusion. He drops down now to potentially do something from underneath, as Curly is there as well. No players on site from Viperio, it's looking like. But have they got the wall? No, the Kaid Electric Claw is still on the wall. They can get a little bit of it, so they can get an angle for Neox, but that's all they can do, as the Electric Claw is still on the left side of the wall.
Oh, a great pick, though, from Joe. Will eliminate Neox, and that is give a lot of confidence back to 86 now, a 2 versus 4. And really, 86 at this stage just have to sit back and relax. Deathrow, not a lot of options for them. I mean, sure, they've got a bit of the breach open, but they can't do anything with that. It's not going to be a valid entryway into the site. So it will force them into other alternatives, being doorways, which usually doesn't work. Joe is again went for a bit of a risky peek. He has been down, but he is still alive. Curly, though, has responded with a kill onto Adriano and a carry. We've seen him slip into that position very early on, and finally he will get his reward.
Exactly, yeah. Just lurking onto the player, comes into Trophy statuary there, and he wasn't even looking at where Akri was situated behind the statue, so he gets up that easy kill there. That was a defensive half for Viperio. They finished that with a 5-1. Quite a strong performance, I would say. I mean, that round that Deathrow won after their timeout definitely helped them here, but you can't allow yourself to lose many more rounds. Now, if you lose one, you're looking at a map point.
Yeah.
And to come back from 1-6 is going to be extremely difficult because you cannot make any mistakes. They have a little bit of an advantage that they are on defensive half right now, so they can play around more. Obviously, Villa being a tad bit more defender favored as well. You see the Jaeger indeed. I mean, the amount of utility they were bringing to like throwables, Deathrow, it wasn't that much, even though they banned the Vamai. No nades, like, I mean, little amount of nades.
Yeah, and it is strange whenever we're used to seeing teams, you know, really capitalize on the Wamai ban. We've seen like 6 nades before as well. You know, we're used to seeing Iana, Sledge, and Finka kind of all come together, but
the Sledge had flashes.
Yeah,
Flashes.
Yeah, I know. It's a bit of a weird one with the kind of flashes. To be fair, it was a good discussion. It was made, I think, in one of the G2 games over the EUL split, where it was Sledge with flashbangs. And it was solely used just to burn up ADSs, where they felt maybe we need more projectiles, which, to be fair, whenever we're seeing more operators kind of get this, you know, get the hard breach gadgets, and that's kind of been selected. But then again, the flashes itself, remember, it got a massive buff. You know, those flashbangs, very, very strong these days. So having flashbangs can be a big benefit to your team.
Ooh, I like this aggressive pick from Fusion. He wants to try and pick the closet window, but doesn't stay there long enough to actually do some damage to the players of Viperio, as they actually were spawning on that side. So initially it's looking like Viperio is going to go for that cross clear. See Akri droning out the bathroom. You have the player on the Astro window, trying to hold any potential flanks from a defender here. But the cross clear definitely coming in play here. Now draw onto the window here, trying to hold back Fusion. Fusion's offside, roaming quite a lot, and we do see Rikers on the Astro stairs as well, so they have to worry about a potential flank coming from him as soon as Viperio is taking control over Master and towards the landing. This
is a much more aggressive kind of opportunity that Deathrow presented themselves. It gives them a lot more flexibility to really take the fight to 86 with how that Goyo shield is placed. It is something that has become a bit of a recent addition to the Villa meta. I've really seen that kind of playstyle grow over the past 6 months or so, where teams are not afraid to hold those red stairs. Usually it's all about, okay, hold main stairs for all you're worth, but now teams have realized that a lot of teams are now favoring the kind of trophy statuary take and then moving in towards 90, opening up vault wall, trying to plant in towards maps. Joe, another opening pick. Neox goes down. Jax has a refrag onto Curly, and Fusion is still in a good position. Draw. Oh, he didn't know if he wanted to commit, but he did not. Potentially could have gotten the kill there on Fusion, but he thinks against it.
I mean, Fusion's in a really good position, right, on the red stairs, as we say that he does actually get naded out, so that shield on the red stairs is not going to do a lot of damage towards attackers anymore. Jags, obviously, with his shield towards the 90 hallway, but we don't see the players of Viperio just onto that 90 hallway. They're in the process of clearing it out, and it looks like there are no more C4s in the hands of Deathrow to potentially do any damage from underneath as soon as they go for a plant, but that 90 control is essential. A nice shot by Adriano as it takes down Joe, bringing it back to a 3-3 man count.
Oh, a great swing as well. Brilliant work from Adriano. Can 86, oh, can they respond? Can they try and eliminate him? This shield has caused him so many issues. Also applies the Aruni Gate. Just keeps him at bay, so Monkey will have to use a flashbang to eliminate that. Down goes Draw. This has not worked for 86. Their first attack has fell pretty flat. And it's really down to one deployable shield to stop them. Monkey, can he pull off a clutch? It is looking pretty unlikely. Like I said, that shield just can't get through it, and he knows that. Smoke's also going to start. Oh, that's unfortunate. Hurnigate will get burned, though. A flashbang gets tossed in. Will that assist him? Another smoke gets tossed, and Monkey, well, unfortunately, will fall to the Toxic Bay, but it was only a matter of time. Not much he could really do in that scenario. 86, they falter at their first attack.
Yeah, I mean, they knew where he was pushing from. He was around that door there. There wasn't much that he could do in a 1v3 situation like that. He can use flashbangs and everything to get rid of the Surya gate and such, but that's not a lot you can do after that. We do see the tactical timeout coming in from Viperio now, quite early, but it might also be the right timing to potentially stop this from going worse.
Yeah, it stops it from kind of spiraling out of control, which can definitely happen on Villa whenever it is pretty defender-sided. We start to see teams just pull round after round back, and all of a sudden momentum is shifted onto their side. Momentum plays a massive, massive part inside a siege. We know that, and just how difficult it can be to get yourself back into the right mindset and right kind of frame of mind. So, yeah, very, very interesting to see them pull out the kind of tech pause, or, well, the timeout. So, yeah, interesting.
Yeah, quite early, but I must say I like it. I would have rather have this, and then, for example, same as what Deathrow did, they won the round after the technical timeout, you get that momentum back, then let it go so far that you potentially are looking at a map point, and you have to pull it back then. I mean, that's where you can't allow yourself to make any mistakes anymore. Now, Viperio can allow themselves to make mistakes, but they're trying to stop it early, and I like that.
Yeah, you want to come out with a clean victory, don't you?
Yeah.
I think that sends a kind of statement to not only the team you're playing, but also everyone else inside of the league. Every single team is going to be watching every other team. That's just how this works in a competitive environment. And, you know, 86, they want to show that they're strong, they are the real deal, and they can really cause an issue for some of the favourites inside of this competition.
Yeah, and if we look at that last one, I definitely think Viperio had a strong start. They were going for that cross clear. They had the control on the landing stairs on the person on red stairs. They naded him off there. But then it kind of fell apart for them. I mean, they got peeked onto landing where one of the players was from Viperio. Then AJNO got another pick. And that's where it kind of starts to fall apart for you in your attack. They did not really have 90 control. It came very late into the round as well. They spent a lot of time trying to properly drone out everything around statue and trophy and everything, which kind of brought them down to a lot less time to potentially do something on the actual site. So now we do have Deathrow on another site. They won Aviator, which means they're forced to pick another bomb site. And the fact that the Kite Electroclaw was downstairs.
Yeah, he's also missed that, so it hasn't actually electrified what I think he wanted to do. It's only electrified the middle wall, which definitely is not ideal. That is probably the wall that we see be least open, I would say, more than anything. It's the right wall that everyone wants to open up. That is where the attackers want to go. Don't know what he wants to do. It's not as if he can go downstairs and pick it back up because it's too high of a position for him to actually grab it.
But he's got another one.
He does, but then maybe he wants to try and keep it for a trick, potentially. I'm not entirely sure what he's after. Whenever it's only the Habana being brought by 86, it would make sense for him to trick it.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's like the one wall where you can bait people to go and breach it. Like, this wall's clear,
Yes.
you can breach it.
Quickly. Actually, you've been bamboozled.
Yeah, exactly. So they put the electric claw on it later on. So that could be a potential thing. Jack is in a really interesting position as well. Downstairs as the mute, has a C4, so a lot of things he can do from underneath. Has these lines of sight towards the Astro stairs. If there's any player trying to sneak through the downstairs, trying to sneak up the Astro stairs, you can hold them back with those lines of sight that he has. Joe is already onto the bathroom door, has cleared the Surya gate, and is holding onto these long lines of sight. We do see the Kai trying to peek that aggressively. Neither of them really hitting their shot, so both players are still left with 100 HP.
Yeah, Joe happy enough just to sit there and stop anyone from entering in towards bedroom. It allows now Monkey to start moving in, and here comes the trick that was kind of expected. Joe will find Fusion, but there's a C4 from below. Unfortunately, the Kai did not catch either off the openings. Bit of a poor showing there from Adriano. Really should have done better in that scenario. The downstairs control is pretty much forfeited now because Jax doesn't have a C4. There's not much he can really do in this scenario. Akari, how has he let that one happen? He was holding on to that angle. Was he? I think he was, but I'm not entirely sure. But he's been killed nonetheless, and once again, 86 not in a good position for them to be on a 2 versus 3. Jax barely misses out on the kill. 86 just looking a little bit lost right now.
Yeah, I think Monkey was trying to focus onto the angles from downstairs as well, knowing that Jax still potentially has a C4 that he can work around with, but Jax is still downstairs. For any players of Viperio to get rid of him, it's going to be a really difficult challenge, as I don't know exactly where he is. We do have Curly, he can still run those lion scanners, but he's holding the angle here as where Curly is pushing, actually gets the kill there as well. Jax onto a triple kill already, still has a lot of time on his hands. 35 seconds left for the players of Deathrow to just wait this out and wait for Monkey to push finish the final few things. They know where he is. He's on the breach, he's at the master bedroom door. And now he has to relocate because there's quite a few players holding his angles. It's Raiko to pick up the last one there. Another round for Deathrow right after Viperio called their tactical timeout.
And I think the kind of man advantage again being the big deciding factor for Deathrow is that they just had more people alive. And 86 kind of got gifted a good opportunity with the Kai Claw not working and Adriano kind of letting that one slip. There was a big opportunity for that to be very, very strongly taken by 86. I mean, whenever you have that breach open, at that stage, you just kind of sit back, use your drones, you find out certain positions, and then you target those positions using those murder holes being made. So, yeah, it's just a bit of a letdown from 86, but still, they have that advantage. But we don't want to see the spiral out of control for 86 and kind of give Deathrow that opportunity.
I think I would prefer for Draw to stick onto the Jackal, since there were some players downstairs still doing a lot of potential to get rid of players from Viperio. That makes it a lot easier to spot out where the roamers might potentially be. And when we have an Ela shotgun, where do you think the Ela shotgun's going to be? In the closet above, for example. Will you have some utility there potentially to hold people back? You can, I mean, if they're going for a top floor clear, you can potentially hold them back in the closet there. Ela shotgun, where else could she be? Maybe around Memo or something?
Really anywhere. I mean, the gun is just that good. It is, in my opinion, the best shotgun.
It's really strong.
It is
very annoying to play against.
It is incredible. It really is. And yeah, I think you have to respect that weapon. I think you have to take your fights at distance or kind of hitting them from two fronts. You know, one hit backside, one at the front side, and hope you can maybe get away without losing somebody. It's a tricky weapon to go up against. But I do think that 86 have enough experience to know how to play against that weapon. But definitely Deathrow starting to gain some confidence, getting their momentum back in their side. But still, you have to remember 86, if they get one round, that's match point, and that kind of sucks the life out of everything Deathrow have been leading up to.
Yeah, I mean, they might not know the Ela's in play. Beautiful shot here by Joe. Opening kill onto Adriano. Yeah, he can't trick any walls anymore with potential claws that he had left. That's a really good entry here. There's not even a half a minute that's been gone. A lot of drones we see around Laundry is potentially going to be like a quick Laundry trade. We do see some players attempting to take top floor control as well. So the Nomad coming into play to hold back potential flanks and everything. But Joe is nearly onto the site. Within a minute into the round, he's just sitting at this doorway trying to join himself in. But there is a player going for an aggressive swing. Joe tries to get the kill, gets it down. Gets the kill there with the Gun 6 as well. The utter disrespect, but gets refragged immediately. A 3-3 man count we're looking at right now. But there's only been a minute into this round.
I mean, Joe has done very well. He's got 2 kills for himself. He's taken out some big hitters. Obviously, the Kaid, who would expect to do some tricking off that Laundry wall and even on towards the pantry wall, which now will be opened up. So that does give them access to kitchen, potentially. Neox on that pulse, we've already mentioned before, whenever 86 were using that operator, how strong it can be to gain just these little snippets of information at the right time. And this is where I think 86 want this Ela to be in a position where the shotgun is nullified. Look at the Ela has to swing with the pistol.
I mean, you have these long angles towards Laundry and towards like delivery where they're trying to attack from, I guess, a little bit, because they have the window open, they have a wall here as well. Jax close with his shotgun, could potentially do a lot of damage to Monkey. They haven't gotten any breach or anything yet, but also Ekri in a position to hold back the Ela. She tries to go for a swing on anything else. Ekri onto the stairs here. Jax also waiting, but we do see Curly picking up a kill onto Rikus. That brings the advantage back into the hands of Viperio 86, but there goes the Ela with the shotgun, getting the kill onto the Monkey, and there's probably no longer a breach happening onto the pantry side. Laundry side.
Oh, a C4 lands right at the feet of Akari in this round. It was looking good for 86. It has been once again stopped. He has to win this engagement. Curly has to win it against Neox, but even if he gets to that stage, then you're up against an Ela shotgun and you're simply pushing into just a single doorway. This is a very difficult round to clutch up. Constant information also being fed through. I believe the Bulletproof and will find the kill onto Neox, but this is a difficult one. Has to win it against the Ela. He knows what he's up against. Can he win it? Destroys the Banshee, goes to the swing. Jiggle peeks in. Constant red pings will come in. Curly, can he find this one? No, he cannot. Jax with a shotgun. I think he was always going to have it in the end. Just so difficult to push against. A nice attempt by Curly. But once again, 86 so close, yet so far.
they have a good start of the round. I mean, they get the entry kill. You have Joe almost sitting onto the site. He gets up another kill and then gets traded off. But that should give you the potential to do something with the man deficit that there is in Deathrow here. I mean, 4-5 now. It looks like Deathrow's trying to come back into this game with the 5-1 they had after their attacking round. Well, they definitely show a good defensive half so far. And having this clean rotate allows them to go back to Aviator as well. I mean, we have a Jaeger now, which could potentially, well, is needed since you have the Vomai ban here. Do you like draw? Sticking with the Jackal now. So I definitely think they're going to have to do something to get control over 90 a lot faster than they did last time.
I mean, if you look on both sides, it is a kind of battle of Jax versus Joe. Because I would say they're the two standouts. Everyone else really in the lobby maybe isn't doing as well as what they should be. So it is definitely a battle of two players and everyone else playing catch-up in a way. I feel as if you need somebody from either team now to kind of join their top fragger. You need somebody else. You know, will it be Draw now? Switch onto the Jackal, hunt these rummers. Will he step up? Will we see, you know, Rykos? Is this where he'll come into his own? Is this where he'll really show us why he's the entry for this side? We need to see more players than just one on each side. We need to see more.
Yeah, and I mean, the players on Deathrow could potentially go for a bigger roam. I mean, it worked for them well last time. We saw Viperio taking a lot of time to clear a potential roam or to clear any defenders still around the trophy statuary site. And that led him to trying to take 90 with only a minute left into the round. And then you get peek from a player in Aviator. But Curly here might get into an engagement faster than he is expecting. As Rykos is situated in the toilet downstairs. Knows there's a player still outside this window. Lions can coming out, but well, that's not going to do a lot if you don't engage onto that. Neok still holding these angles here as well. Draw picking up a little bit of damage. Don't know where exactly that was from, but they are aware of the player in living here, so they could potentially force him out.
They have spotted out Rykos, so they know there's two players downstairs at least, but Rykos wins it against Curly, and it looks as if Deathrow are going to try and slip away and fade into the fog, and well, Neox will be the first one to drop. Joe now tosses a nade to try and eliminate somebody who may be playing inside of that long corridor, but doesn't find anyone. Jax takes a lot of damage. I believe that's from a carry's nade, and he will be finished off by Draw. So great work to really use that vertical action. They've got rid of the smoke, which was a big issue for them in the last time they attacked this round. So it just gives 86 more time to work with. A bit of pressure off of them.
Yeah, there's two players on Deathrow now with no longer on full HP. There's no Thunderbird to bring them back to full HP. So, I mean, Rykos is going to have less confidence trying to swing into a gunfight if you can only take one bullet and you're gone. So, I mean, it's not necessarily a 90 take at the moment. It's not necessarily the take that they did before, as we have Neok still sitting around Astro. He's got all the potential to roam around still, and there's so many reinforcements around him too. Holds the angles towards Master, feels pressure from both sides, but it actually is Joe there to pick up that kill. Gets refragged immediately, so we're back to a 3-3. Let's say 3-2 now as Rykos picks up a double kill. And the players of Viperio 86 back into trophy statuary. It looks like they've gone all the way back to what they tried to do last game.
Yeah, I thought Joe did extremely well being able to get that man advantage back into his side, but then all of a sudden Deathrow have appeared with 2 kills and 86 are not there with the refrags. This again is not looking good for them. Still, there is plenty of players on board for Deathrow. What has happened there to a carry? Did he?
I think he naded himself.
Oh, that's unfortunate. So now Draw has to take some time out of the way to pick himself back up. They don't have the diffuser. This is the worry. Neither of them are looking to pick up the diffuser. It is located, I believe, outside. This is not a good look for them. Draw now. Gonna have to try and play for the kills. Smoke grenade will get eaten up by the ADS and swings in towards Maps. There's a man in study, which is going to be the main issue. Tries to battle against the man inside of Vault, and will he win that engagement? No, he will not. Cannot thread the needle. A carry finds one, but there is Adriano as expected inside a study. 86, the lead that they once had, has now dissolved.
I'm seeing a pattern here. Do you remember a specific game that Viperio played on Bank?
I do.
Where they had, I think it was a 1-5, a 5-1 advantage as well.
This is worrying. This is very worrying for 86 now. Deathrow have full momentum. They've done extremely well there with the refrags. Sure, they might have, I believe, let Jax die just quite easily, but then straight away the refrags coming in from Rykos, I thought did extremely well in that scenario. I think whoever it was it Fusion the Jaeger, just again another swing in. you know, they've played well to get their man advantage always on their half. You know, they've always done well whenever it gets that minute 30. They are leading the kills. So, yeah, Deathrow, they've really rallied in this second half, and 86. What do you say? What do you say?
Well, if they lose one right now, they're looking at a map point. It is the map of Deathrow, so they pick this map. It's okay, I guess, to lose your opponent's map pick, but it would be a really strong first start to win your opponent's map pick. I mean, that's where you really show dominance here, and they had the dominance coming into this game. I mean, closing off your defensive half 5-1 in advance, and now they've completely given it away. So, if it ends up Deathrow winning another round, then they're looking against a map point. I mean, obviously it's going to do things to your mental as well, because at one point you were getting close to a map point, and now you've completely let it slip away.
So we see Mira be brought to the table, which is always an intriguing operator to see let through on Villa. It's usually a very good map for her, but then again, I think as the meta has kind of developed, we see a lot more vertical action from below, and a lot of the Mira windows you would like to place on site. You can go below, you can buck them. Obviously, nades is always going to be a big thing, so maybe that's the reason why we don't see her banned as frequently as what, you know, she used to be. But still, can be very strong, very influential all around, and it just gives you not only obviously the kind of positioning where you can win an easy 1v1 engagement, but just information, just in general, is always going to be a strong thing to have for defenders.
Oh, this is looking like an aggressive push. We have Joe on the master bedroom door. Looks like a repeating of the last round, actually. They do get the Jackal tackle now onto someone at Astro stairs. They spotted the mirror window towards Astro as well. But Joe is just holding off potential long angles. There we see the kite trying to pick this again. It looks like a complete repeating of the last defensive round we had on this bomb site. Could they don't get the possible, positive side out of this potentially here? We do see Joe still trying to pick that doorway, has nades that he could do a lot with, but if you're going to stand next to that doorway for a lot of time, of course there's going to be someone that goes downstairs and gets a kill with a C4. So that's Joe off the board. I mean, the top fragger on the side of Viperio 86, a refrag onto Fusion, but Draw gets refragged immediately as well. Jack's in the same position with these lines aside downstairs. And then Riker still with a potential C4. It's looking kind of good for Deathrow in this round so far.
It is indeed. I think Deathrow have made some good adaptations, and once again, 86 are kind of in a similar position where they're a man down. They don't have the full man advantage. However, Jack gives himself away on the Astro stairs. Don't know if that push was needed, but 86 are happy to take it. It's now Deathrow. And a bit of an uneasy ground whenever this wall will start to be opened up. It doesn't give Rykos too many positions to play in. That wall being electrified is going to cause them even more issues, and there goes the banner pellets as expected. So Rykos, where's he going to sit? Where is he going to try and hide? There's nowhere to hide. He will get downed, and Curly knows that. He'll try and crawl the Neox, but this kind of gives an opening to 86 to walk in towards Astro. The only thing they don't have covered is Statue.
And we see Archery holding off the long lines aside as Rykos is getting picked back up by Neox here. Rykos on low HP now, Neox not on full HP either. You're gonna try and hold down these long lines aside, but attackers might have bigger scopes here. Actually gets picked off by Adriano, going for an aggressive push here on the split, but Monkey's taken full control over Astro. Gets the pick onto the mirror, and now potentially could go for another frag with the kite here. Neox being on low HP isn't gonna help him either, but Adriano goes for the swing, gets the kill there. And so 1v1 between Adriano and Monkey. Adriano on very low HP, but it's Monkey to win out the gunfight, and Viperio is looking at a map point.
Oh, Monkey. What a performance that he has put in this shift, and that is a well-needed round, and 86 know that. Another very close affair, but I think Akari done extremely well to get it back in level playing field. They knew they had no options with the triple wall inside a bedroom. That was never going to be opened with those Kai charges, and a very wise adaptation. Let's just target the other bombs. Like, let's try and flood in through Astro, open up that quad wall, which usually doesn't see any play at all. But in that scenario, it helped them a lot. So, yeah, all credit to 86. Again, a nice rotation over, and it worked for them. Match point back in favor of 86. Now, they sit in the lead once again. Can they close it out? Maybe is this where Deathrow feels if they should have had that, and this is where they start to get a little bit rattled?
I mean, it was a 1v1, and we said that was looking good for Deathrow halfway through the round. They had a little bit of a man advantage, but maybe the utility with the mirror kind of worked against them, because that was what really had the focus of Viperio 86, to get rid of those mirror windows. kind of opening up the longer lines of sight for the players of Viperio as well to go into Astro, to peek onto players behind the bomb chassis, for example. That's where the mirror got killed. So it might not be the mirror to the fullest potential that they were thinking initially before they brought the mirror here. So now Deathrow is looking against a map point. They're gonna bring the same side. They're gonna play the same side, bring in quite some different operators though, so they feel like they need to switch that. A lot of utility invested around the Astro stairs. I wonder who's going to be playing that, but with 2 ADSs, a Mutema and a Banshee, no one's going to push that as easily as they'd like to.
Yeah, I think it's just been put in place with how 86 were able to kind of stem their attack from the Astro side of things. I think they're going to try and move Joe in for the hunt. I don't think they're going to play Joe as aggressive, you know, on the bomb site, try and find an easy pick. They are all about the hunt now, and I think Joe kind of wants revenge of getting C4'd, and still alive, but probably not what he wanted to happen.
I mean, Jax doesn't have a C4 anymore. He did a lot of damage with that in the previous round, and Joe is able to be picked up again. Well, it does look like a good idea to try and hunt down Jax, who did a lot of damage underneath last time, but he's also being assisted by both Fusion and Rikers. This is looking like a very heavy roam presence. Obviously, Melusi no longer having a C4, so not as much damage as she could do from downstairs. Fusion has one, might has it used or has it pre-placed somewhere, but Draw is now looking at the pantry door. They're really trying to force the players out here. Jax also being Jackal tracked, thus kind of reveal his position and would allow for players on Viperio to go and swing him, get rid of him, because this is taking a little bit too long if you'd ask me.
Already minute 15 gone and no kills for really either side. There's Fusion. We'll open things up with the opening pick. Draw once again goes down. Not the greatest performance from Draw this game, and now relies on his other teammates to do the job of carry. Oh, how do you not win that against Fusion? Cannot hit his shots, and he does get punished for it. Deathrow, they look as if they're going to try and take this to overtime, as half the round is still to go, and 86 once again have really nothing to go off. They've lost 2 kind of entries downstairs, and Joe is on just a bit of a sliver of HP. There's not much more you can ask from him, and he goes down as well. Fusion has really sprung out of nowhere this round. 3 kills for him, and now 86 will try and test their laurels elsewhere. A full rotate over towards Study. And Deathrow, I mean, they're ready for this. You have another guy just lurking on red stairs. I'm sure then even Neox can maybe rotate towards Pig Window, and from there it's just an easy crossfire.
Yeah, they have so many barricades as well, so they're getting the easy sound cues that there are players from 86 going there. Molly trying to walk up the stairs, not really knowing there's a player on red stairs. Fusion up for a quad kill, good go for a potential ace as he sees the player around Aviator. But there's Fusion there as well, they're all hungry to go for the kill. The player is behind a map table here. Fusion gets one. No ace indeed. It's currently get 1 kill on the Fusion, but well, it's eventually 1 out by Deathrow here. We go into full overtime, or at least we go into overtime.
Yep.
So not as ideal as Viperio 86 would have wanted. They can't close it out here without overtime, but I mean, they can attack now.
Both sides getting 5-1 splits on the defense. And Deathrow, they get to continue on the defense. That is not good for 86. Remember, our defense has been the most favored side. You always want to try and get into that position. We will head over to Aviator Room and Games. This is the bomb site that 86 have not won. Will this be a different story? Will they be able to win this round? I mean, again, I think what we kind of looked at the last round was it was actually quite good from 86. They were able to pinpoint certain roamers. They were able to clear them out very effectively. But then Deathrow hit them with 2 amazing refrags out of nowhere. Nobody from 86 was in a good position. I think the positioning from 86 really let them down.
Yeah, I mean, we see, for example, Joe going for these aggressive swings and picks as well. But we do see Adriano, for example, do this too. I mean, 2 rounds where it was Aviator on the defense for Deathrow, we did see Viperio 86 try and take Astro and Trophy and Statue, or somewhat of an extent of that. Last time, they didn't bring the Jackal, I think, so they had a bit more struggle to trying to clear the defenders on that side. But I would want him to go for a study take. Go for a study take. Go for a 90 take. I mean, you know there's going to be roamers at this side because you've tried attacking it twice.
Yeah.
How about you switch it up? Try and get the breach at Study, for example. I don't think Deathrow would be expecting that as much as they would expect a clear from Statue and Trophy.
I mean, in terms of setup on towards the main stairs, there isn't a whole lot. Realistically, we're not seeing the same kind of shields that I think at E6 they really went for the full main stair send, and they kind of let the whole 90 and Trophy Statuary just kind of fall to Deathrow, but Deathrow are not giving it up that easily. So once again, 86 will move in. They'll start to get their drones in and around and find out this information to hopefully feed you up a few more kills. 17 he has in this game. More barricades do go down. But it's all about that red stairs. That's what they need to try and eliminate. It should be an easy task. Like, theoretically, you just burn a couple of flashbangs and throw a nade, and that should be it. Jax! Oh, he's just pinged him off the 90 window. Draw again falls. Another opening death goes his way, and down goes Joe Rykos. Just sat, and they didn't. I think that was a missed drone. Oh, poor from 86. The drone work not working for them, and Curly gets riddled through the floor. Or the soft wall, should I say.
Yeah, now it's the refrag onto Rykos. Also a 4-3. Monkey's able to pick up another one.
Hold on a minute.
So we're looking at a 3-3 man count again. But Monkey on low HP. Curly not on full HP either. And Jackson Nukes either, but they should be winning these gunfights. Same as that Draw should be winning the gunfight against Jax. Adrian again in this position where he could just swing onto the players coming into landing. One of the defenders still is around top stairs. Neok's gone now. That should be a potential round win for Viperio 86 here, as they do have somewhat of a control around landing. They might need to push up the red stairs now, but 2 players on low HP. I mean, it's still better than Jax on a slither of HP and Adrian on full HP.
86 has somehow pulled back 3 kills, and now they lead in man advantage. This is good drone work by Monkey. Sees that nobody's towards red, nobody's lurking in an aggressive position, but it's this shield. This is the shield that was the bane of their existence that they could just not get through. They have 2 nades. 2 nades. We would expect that they have enough utility, which they do, 6 flashbangs, and they have done so. That shield is gone. It leaves Adriano now just more exposed more than anything, so he has to fall back into another position. Akari still has 1 nade. He's going to try and use it to try and eliminate Adriano behind the couch. Maybe not so. What's he thinking of going for? Just lines it and times it, but no, cannot successfully get the nade. Monkey's going to go for a very long rotate towards Study, and now Curly, what's he thinking? Has the diffuser. He's the man we need to watch. He needs to try and get the diffuser down in time, and it looks to be a full rotate towards Study now all of a sudden. 86, they are kind of very close. Curly will try and battle using the vertical flooring. Adriano, he knows that they've all rotated, and now they can both try and double up and utilize these study holes that have been made. Another E1D goes off. We're seeing that back rotate, I believe, from somebody else. What are they looking at? 86 are looking the wrong way. Akari has been down now, and this is looking so good. Curly will hit them where it hurts from behind. 5 seconds to go. Jax just has to stay alive, and he will find the tap, and that should be it for Deathrow. Wow, Jax somehow salvages the round for Deathrow. 86, they were all over the place.
They were. I mean, they finally had that control over landing. Finally, the shield gone on Aviator. That would allow for them to push into the side, right? The Aruni is super exposed. I mean, they were trying to nade her from underneath as well. She was super exposed. There was no way she was going to be able to survive that there. Viperio went for a full-on rotate. I mean, sure, if you have the utility, if you have the time, but you were facing a smoke on low HP, but still had 2 smoke canisters. The longer you take to push onto that side, the more useful the smoke will get with those 2 smoke kind of stuff. He didn't even use them, I think. It was just a 1 kill that he got onto that landing door, and then he just had to wait it out. 2 seconds on a slither of HP, while it should have already been draw to kill him at the very first entry, death or kill in this round. Kind of crippled apart here.
What a roller coaster. I started off, it looks as if Deathrow were just gonna easily take that round, 2 early kills, sloppy drone work from 86, and then all of a sudden, Monkey and Akari pull back kills, and then they have all the advantage, a minute to go, it's looking good, they've gotten rid of the issues that they had last time, and then there must have been a call saying everyone rotate. And from our perspective, from what we're seeing, it didn't look as if it was probably the best call. I mean, it looked as if they were trying to bait Deathrow, thinking all of them would rotate. And to be fair, we've seen, Lion kind of hit them from behind. It gets an easy kill. But you're playing with fire with such little time in that scenario. And it cost them just the time management was not there.
I mean, they had some struggles with utility clearing, right? And they finally cleared all the utility around Aviator, then to only go to Study to probably face more utility, which is questionable. But hey, Viperio looking against them at point now. Deathrow has to win an attack to close it out here. Well, as we've seen before into this game, attacks aren't really likely to be won, but it's Viperio 86 on the Aviator game side. And we also see Deathrow trying to go for this cross clear here. A lot of players situated around here. We do see Monkey already replacing utility, making sure that all the ADSs are on a singular doorway, so that shield around top main is going to stay alive for a lot of time. And now we should hope that the players of Viperio 86 can keep Deathrow out of trophy statuary for long enough, wasted enough utility so they can't get rid of the shield around the classical hallway, because that could be a very powerful position for Viperio 86.
Yeah, good stuff from 86, realising that Deathrow have no intention of study or main stairs this game. They're all about the trophy and statuary, so it doesn't take too long to pick up the equipment and put it back down again, especially whenever we know Deathrow, they have to do all of this roam clear out still, have to get the drones in and make sure everything is clean. And it is, for the meantime, unless anyone wants to slip up the stairs and try and go for a flank.
Joe?
Well, yes, to name a few. And I mean, to be fair, Deathrow, it's not as if we're seeing like Nomad or Zero or any kind of flank protection, which would be one thing that I don't think really both sides have executed, is actual flanks. We haven't really seen any of that this game.
No, I mean, players were scared of flanks being executed here. One of the ADSs should come in play here. Joe also still in study, could potentially hold long lines aside, but it's Monkey to fall first. Fusion picks up the first kill there. That's a smoke gone. A lot of utility that you can potentially use later into the round, no longer on the board. That's definitely going to make it difficult for Viperio 86. Also, the fact that there were no roamers gives Deathrow very quick control over 90. They're already onto the vault wall. They're already onto 90. They probably got rid of the shield or got rid of a lot of ADSs there. So, I mean, Ekri is still on the bomb side. Could shoot through the soft wall here, could hold players back, but they're already trying the reposition here, as most of them are around landing and one on the red stairs as well.
I like Joe's position right now in a bit of an off angle, and he will find a kill onto Jax. Not expecting for him to be in the kind of tight left corner, but Fusion will have the refrag. Just an overextension there from Joe. It will cost him his life. Still managed to get the kill onto the top fragger of Deathrow. And look at Curly, he's kind of taken up a similar position. He's looking to go nuclear, does have the C4 in the pocket. He takes up the exact same position. The C4 gets tossed. Will it find anyone? No, it gets shot before it can be exploded. The pistol swing, and the Yana also goes with it. Fusion is crazy for going for that swing, but somehow it works for them. 86 now backs up against the wall. Is this where we'll see them play their best? Siege carry lets the man slip right past him. Adriano will find draw, and a 1v4. Looks as if this is going to be it for 86. Unless a carry can do something, he will not get anything. Deathrow muster up the courage to get a plant down, and they will beat 86. 8-6 to Deathrow.
That's a quite coincidental map score.
It is. I didn't mean for that to happen, but it happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful map score. It was their map as well for Deathrow, so ideally you'd win that to at least have some kind of standing going on to the next map. I think that's going to be Viperio 86's map pick. A 5-1 map of a round advantage. We did see Viperio 86 in positions like that before, giving it away. Is it really giving it away on a map like Villa, where there's such a advantage?
I feel as if they would have felt that they gave it away.
I mean,
that's what I think. You know, sure, we can sit here and speculate saying, okay, yeah, 5-1 defense, you know, that's expected. The other team can easily do that. But even if you're 5-1 up, you should still be thinking, you know, we're 5-1 up. Should we really be losing this? And I would say they probably feel like that.
It's going to hurt your mental a lot going into that next map.
And we hope to see 86 bounce back and give us a great best of 3. But before we move on to our next map, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. We'll be back in a few.